it's an approach called emotivism by the philosopher Alistair McIntyre, trying to attribute motive to the person rather than arguing with their argument. And that's something I really, really try not to do in debate. So if I'm in debate, I never will say to you, you're doing this because what you believe is X. I'll say, okay, just make sure your argument is this. Here's where I see flaws in that argument. I see flaws here, here, and here. Because if we do that, we can have a conversation. If I'm arguing about your deep-rooted motivation is that you want something terrible to happen to me and my family, that's not an argument now. Now we're at war.
Yeah, I understand that. So you're saying, okay, this is an Old Testament reference too. If they can't assassinate you, they'll assassinate your character. So that way other people are like, no, he's bad.
Right, exactly. And again, I think it's really motivating and it's really, really easy to play that game.
Do you think they did that with Andrew Tate?
I mean, it depends on who they is. So I think there are a lot of critiques of Andrew Tate. I've obviously been extremely critical of Andrew Tate. My view of Andrew Tate has always been that he makes some critiques about, for example, feminism that I very much agree with. He says some things that I think about masculinity that probably need to be said. I also think he plays a bit of a game where he says two things. One of them is perfectly reasonable, plausible, and then he says something that's completely nuts. And then he bundles those two things together. And then if you argue with him...
I'm getting ready to lay down. I just wanted to see how your headache's doing.
It's still there.
It's still there. You need some more.
No, I took 2, so it'll just take a little bit for it to kick in.
Okay.
Usually,
Be okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
It's not bad. It's just I don't want it to get bad.
Right, I understand.
So, like, it's there.
Yeah.
But it's not like extreme.
Maybe it's your ear, Danny.
Nah.
No.
Nah.
Sometimes it can bother you, and it's cold outside, so.
I don't think that's what it is.
Okay.
Because you're arguing with the plausible thing. So he'll say things like, men in the divorce system are victimized. 100% true. Totally agree. Or feminism has made male-female relations so much worse. Totally agree. And then he'll say, real manhood is basically me with a bunch of beautiful women around me. I'm like, that's not actually something with which I agree. And he'll say, like, I think, actually, in fact, I think that's kind of a schmucky thing to be. I think it's a bad person. I think it's a bad thing to do. And he'll say, well, so you're arguing with, so you're like, no. No. I agreed with half of what you said and not the other half. And so I don't think that him as a package deal is a good package deal.
Have you ever wanted to just sit down and discuss some ideas with him?
Yeah, I mean, we've had very public exchanges on Twitter in which he has accused me of not being manly enough or that sort of thing. And my view of Tate again is, I think that if he had nothing, then he wouldn't be popular. But I think that I think he's doing more damage than good. I think that he is. I think the things he says about women historically have been quite nasty. I think that his foreign policy is insane, or shall we say wrong in the extreme morally. And I think that, frankly, he's grifting a huge percentage of his audience. I think that his Tate University looks like a pyramid scheme. I'm failing to see where is he building a decision-making matrix for people that makes their lives better in a widespread way. When I say things like people should get married and they should have kids and they should go to their church, this is now considered bizarrely old-fashioned by a lot of people who really like Andrew Tate. And to me, there's no other model. That's the only model. And if you are preaching a model whereby masculinity is hitting things, walking around shirtless, smoking a cigar, buying Lamborghinis that nobody needs or really can afford if you're living a normal life, and having multiple beautiful women who may or may not be hired to be there around you, that is a bad model for young men. That is not what men should be aspiring to. What men should be aspiring to is marrying a good woman, having children with that good woman, building a family with that good woman, being part of a community with that good woman and her children, and building the institutions of society that actually make society flourish and function. And I understand that he is reacting to a thing. I think the thing he's reacting to is bad. I don't think that his reaction to the thing is correct or decent or good.
From my perspective of having a conversation with him, I feel like he's a very, very powerful man that's driven in his thoughts, but he's actually very humble enough to take criticism or a different approach of thinking. So I think that if you guys would put down your swords, you guys could probably get away with like having a great conversation where both of you guys take something away from each other. I think what happens is, like we were talking about, the ego blows, right? You're sitting back and you're like, I'm not going to sit here and watch you tell men that they have to have 100 girls around them. But he's also looking at the West, really feminizing men to a point where he's like, all right, I'm going to push back even more than I should so I can make a point, if that makes any sense.
And I mean, so again, I think